And then when that's done, it's time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Well, guys, a little bit of sad news, unfortunately. Erica's grandma passed, and at 100 years old and 10 days, or maybe 12. She was really excited about making it to 100, and she was in pretty good shape. And after she made it to 100, she just kind of let down and just said she was tired, and she went very peacefully. Really great way to go, in my opinion. But very sad for the family, of course. And we could not get a slip for the boat in time for us both to go. So I'm staying here with the boat in a bay. Anchoring by myself was a little challenging. Something we've never done before, but I got it. Erica flew home. She'll be there for 10 days. And I'm here on the boat by myself, which is fine. I've got plenty to do. As you guys know, this is our second season in the Sea of Cortez, right? And we're still getting to see some, you know, things we haven't seen before, and even things that we have that we loved. We're definitely still having some fun. But a vast majority of our energy is going into planning for the next leg of our circumnavigation, which is the Pacific crossing over to French Polynesia and those South Pacific Islands, which is a big step. It's a big step even on a good day. And now with COVID, man, it's a lot more complicated. So it's taking a lot of work to plan for this, get agents, get our permissions to go, and get our ducks in a row, because not all the islands are open. And even the big ones like Australia and New Zealand are still not open. So it's challenging planning this. And for me, my part of this is making sure that the boat is absolutely tip-top, which we've been doing ever since we bought it. You know, getting all the spares we can think of on board.
It's okay. You're safe. It's okay. You're good.
Really covering our butts that way, servicing all the engines, servicing everything that we possibly can, making sure that everything's tip-top. Because when we get to French Polynesia, boy, it's not going to be as easy as it is in Mexico. I mean, we're just a stone throw from the US, and makes it pretty easy to get parts, and labor down here is pretty easy too, so pretty cheap. So one of the main things, I know I'm going on and on, my apologies. One of the main things I'm actually really stoked on that I just finished is something that I did on the old boat, and that's a rain collection system, because there is so much real estate here on this boat. All of the surfaces here collect the water. And on these boats, brilliantly, all the water that hits the roof of it come into this gutter system, right? And this gutter system then drains right at the mast. And the water just kind of goes out into the ocean. So on the old boat, I set up this kind of makeshift funnel, and it funneled, and I dumped it into the holding tank. On this boat, see, I've learned a lot from that one, and I've expanded on this one, and I have much more room to put these systems into place. So what I've done was pretty neat, actually. The water still collects here at the mast, behind the mast, and it dumps here and went out. I put in through holes right here, and then I've created these little dams. I'm still working on the gel coat to make it really pretty, but I wanted to film this and show you. So this is essentially how it is. Catches the water. Those two tubes go into the two compartments below me, and then they go into a Y valve, so it collects them together. Then here's where it gets neat. Not all of the water that hits the roof is something that I would want to put into the holding tank. You know, if it's dirty or if it hasn't rained in a while, we're gonna want it to be clean before we start filtering that. So the system just stays off, and when it stays off, the first thing that water does is it hits a Y valve. If the system is off, the Y valve dumps it back into the ocean. Once the roof is clean, I'll just push a button at the helm station, and this electric valve turns, bzzz, into a position where then it starts going into the filtration system, right? Awesome. So the first thing it does, it goes into a pretty coarse pre-filter just to get any of the large objects or bugs out of there. And then it goes into a shower sump box is what it is. And I've repurposed it for this with a float switch in it. So as the water comes up, it raises that float switch and activates the pump. The pump gets the water, pumps it through our actual water filter. From the water filter, very nice clean system just to go right into the holding tank. So really, really great system that I'm stoked on. Maybe not so much for like the present day because it doesn't rain much here in Mexico, but it's going to be awesome for the rest of our trip where we're gonna, you know, be experiencing quite a bit more rain, especially in the South Pacific. So yeah, we do have a water maker on board, but anytime that we can, you know, collect what's happening for free, that's, you know, gonna be way, way better. And we're gonna extend the life on our water maker clearly. Those membranes are expensive and they have a finite lifespan. So stoked on that system. And another benefit, I know I'm going on and on, my apologies. Another benefit that happened while I was under here is I just happened to check out the bottom of the windlass. While I was under here, I looked under there and noticed that of the bolts that are supposed to be mounting it, only about half of them have been installed. And I know this thing has been rebuilt, so at some point somebody just didn't reinstall it very well. So it's missing about half the bolts. And those that are there, a few of them were actually loose. So I got under there and I retightened them, and while I was there I noticed that the thing has an extended shaft on it of about 4 or 5 inches, more than enough to mount something to and alleviate one of our issues. It's funny how noticing one issue has led to the solution of a whole different issue. We have always been frustrated with something that happens on a lot of boats. The chain piles up quite quickly under the windlass, and you really have to pay attention to it because it can jam the windlass terribly, actually. So when we're raising anchor, you're under there flaking it out or spreading it out so it doesn't pile up and bind up. And so Erica's doing this on her hands and knees, kind of dealing with the muddy chain, and it's less than desirable. So this is kind of a little bit of a surprise to her. I built something that is super, super neat. And it actually turned out to be kind of a beautiful, you know, chunk of wood. I didn't mean for it to look so nice, but I made it and I sanded it and coated it with epoxy several times so it's tough as nails. And what I've got is I've got a hole in there for a shaft to mount on the shaft. And as this thing spins, because it's off axis, it catches the chain and spreads it out on its own and kind of knocks down anything that might pile up. So far, my testing it, it looked like it worked quite well. So I got it all painted with epoxy, and now I'm going to mount it today and have it on there permanently. And I think Erica should be really stoked and relieved a little bit. It'll just definitely make raising the anchor that much easier and quicker, which in a big storm, you know, might actually be a safety thing. So yay. All right, let's see. Yes! All right, I think that's it. That's pretty awesome. Woo! That's cool. I am stoked on that. Looks like it's working pretty well. I guess only time will tell. There may be some things I need to work out, some bugs, I don't know, you know, but that's the name of the game. And so it's on to the next project, which for me today is addressing this furler. A couple weeks ago, I took this apart because this thing is bound up. It will barely even turn. And so I have to use the winches to take the sail both in and out, which is not right. This thing should spin completely freely. So I took it apart, and it definitely has some corrosion on the inside, but to take apart the drum, it's a 2-piece drum, I have to take off this forestay. So this is crazy because I have to loosen the whole rig of the boat. I have to loosen both of the side stays, which are called shrouds, really, to take the pressure off of the forestay, and then I can take that completely off, and I'll have a temporary setup just like this halyard right here. I'll have it nice and tight to take that pressure off and keep the mast standing. And this is a little bit different than a monohull, because monohulls have 4 of these things holding up their rig. They have the forestay, like I do, the 2 side ones, which are called shrouds again, and then the backstay. And bigger boats have a lot more complicated systems. They can get all sorts of stays and shrouds, but that's the basic setup. On the cats, what they do is they eliminate the backstay by moving the 2 shrouds aft of the mast, and what they do is they create this really nice triangle of support, kind of like a 3-legged stool would be. So that's how the mast is supported. So I'll basically loosen the 2 side stays, take all the pressure off of the forestay, take it completely off, and see if I can't rebuild this dang thing here in this anchorage. So wish me luck. It's my project for the rest of the day. Let's see. The first step was to remove the headsail, and it gave me a perfect excuse to do some quick seam repairs that I've been noticing for a while now, but they were not quite large enough to warrant the removal of the whole sail just to take care of.
I have a lot of emotions. Wow.
Okay guys, I got all my drop cloth set up so that I don't drop anything in the water. Oh. I think I got all my tools laid out. And so the first step is to disassemble this furler as much as possible. There's a lot that can come off of it prior to taking off the forestay. Okay. And then when that's done, it's time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. But I'm going to set up tons of safety lines so that I don't drop the rig in the water. That would be astronomically terrible. Eric would be so mad. I'll be damned. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, okay. Interesting, okay. Oh, I just learned something very exciting. Maybe I actually don't have to take the forestay off. Oh God, that would be great. I'm about halfway there, I think. Maybe less, maybe more, I don't know. But I think I might be able to actually take this drum apart right where it is. Man, that would just make my whole day, my whole week. if I did not have to take the forestay actually off. That's just, it's still under so much tension and I have it so tight. What I think. All right, let's see. There is no real manual or instruction book for this furler, at least not one that I could find. So it was certainly a bit of a guessing game for me. And all I could really do is start eliminating possibilities. It's kind of like what can be said about failing. I often had to remind myself I wasn't failing, I was simply learning how it doesn't come apart. Over and over again. I found many ways it did not come apart. Nope. Damn it. All right. Let's see. Ugh. Man, am I between a rock and a hard place here. I know what's happening and I know how to get the drum apart, but it's very, very challenging while it's in place. There's a set ring that has to come off and I have to get to it from underneath. I can't see it. It's gonna have to all be by feel. Or I continue loosening the rig and take this forestay off. Oh God. Oh my God. And so, I don't know, I'm gonna give this one last ditch effort, and very luckily, I have something on board that I have never even used. I kept from my old tool set. It's a bent nose pair of needle nose pliers, and it's exactly what I need to get to that inside ring and remove it. And if I cannot do it, then I'm gonna have to continue loosening the rig and take off this forestay and take off the whole drum. So, man, I hope this works, okay? Nope. There's not enough bend to those needle nose to get in there. This ring is causing an issue. It's in the way. So. Yes! What? Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You want to come out. You need to come out. It's your duty to come out. Come on, baby. Ah, got it. The ring is out. Woo! Ah, yes! This is the ring that I had to get off from the inside. Woo! But she's off. All right, well, I hope you guys aren't taking this as complaining. It's just pure frustration that this is not, you know, working out a little bit more in my favor. I have reassembled the drum a little bit. I did get this ring off, okay? So that is the last thing holding it. I just think that there's so much corrosion inside that it's basically just locked up and it won't separate. I need to separate this outer drum from the inner drum. So I've basically reassembled everything and I've hooked the topping lift up. And so I will tighten down on that and help lift this and then pry on it at the same time. And man, I'm just throwing all my skills from everything that I've ever learned and like everything that I can think of at this to get this come apart. And it's not, Yeah, I soon discovered something that I should be getting used to discovering by now. I was wrong. That internal ring wasn't the last thing holding this together, not even close. There were 2 more rings and an internal ball bearing that needed removal, which I'm about to discover right as they fall into the ocean. I'm starting to think I may be, for good reason, the only person to have attempted this job while it's installed. I had anchor. Alone.
Oh, come on. Come on. Whoa! Oh! Did it! Come on. This little dude. Ah. Inside, all the way inside. This is just crazy. Ah. Oh. Bearing of some sort. Okay. Wow. What a mess. Woo! Right. Got it. Finally. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I started this project around 7 or maybe 7:30 at the latest. So I've got the drum all apart. It's kind of a mess. There's definitely there was a bunch of these rings inside that are rusting, and there's definitely a lot of debris in there and buildup. So I think that was just clogging it all up, and so the idea now is just to clean the bejesus out of it. Clean the bejesus? Clean the living shit out of it, clean out all of the crap on the inside, and, you know, re-lube it, put everything back together. And I didn't even have to take the forestay off. I'm not really sure I could have. I guess I would have figured it out, but I'm really thankful I didn't have to do that. So now it's just about cleaning, and then I'll lube it, put it back together, and put the sail back up this afternoon, I hope. Whew. Wow. Ah. Oh, real slick. Yeah, real slick. So I cleaned these up really well. I mean, they're definitely far from perfect. There's still a lot of pits in them because they are just pure steel and they rust quite easily. But that's okay. And these were definitely the culprit. It was just these things, you know, got moisture in there and started to rust, and those particles and that stuff all got in the joints and cause that thing to lock up super badly. And I would love to replace these, but man, I just don't know if we're gonna find these here, and I have to get this thing back together anyways. But at least now I know exactly how this thing goes together and how it's built and how it operates. So when I have to do this again, because these will need to be replaced, they're gonna cause the same issues, I'll know how to do it, and I've got the tools now. So won't be quite as tough a job, but it's definitely gonna need to get done again at some point, probably a couple years down the road. Okay. Woo. Look at this. Look at that. That is how it is supposed to operate. Woo. I don't know if you noticed, but it's damn near sundown. I was not looking forward to this for good reason. That? Time for a beer? Yeah. Why? You're making me look dumb.
when it hits your lips.